Hi, my name is Matthew and I'll be teaching you how to solve linear equations today. We're going to begin with this question. Solve x minus 3 is equal to 5. First, what does it even mean to solve? Well, it's asking us to find the value of x that makes this equation true. X is a symbol in a mathematical term. It's called variable, meaning that it could vary and be any number. But for this problem though, there is only one value of x that makes this equation true. And the question is asking us to find that value. Well, if we think that the value is 8, then we will write x is equal to 8. Meaning, if we put 8 in place of x, which makes our equation 8 minus 3 is equal to 5. And if this equation is true, that means that we have solved this question right. And now we're gonna actually solve it instead of intuitively guessing it. X minus 3 is equal to 5. The first thing that we do to solve a linear equation is always the same. First, find the operation that is done to the variable. Here in this case, we are subtracting 3. Now, what we do is we do the opposite operation of that. That's the rule number 1. Apply the opposite operation. Rule number 2, make sure you do the same operation on the other side as well. Okay, that's how this equation stays true, right? For example, let's say I have this equation 1 plus 1 is 2, which is a true statement. And if I decide to add 3 on left side, and if I finish there, that means 5 equals 2, which is not true. So in order for this equation to stay true, I apply the same operation, plus 3 on both sides. That's how the left side becomes 1 plus 1 plus 3 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, and that is still true. X comes down, minus 3 and plus 3, they cancel each other out, equals 5 plus 3 is 8. And that's our final answer. Let's solve our second question. 4x is equal to 8. Here we have 4x, and that means 4 times x. We do not write multiplication sign. It's because the multiplication sign and the variable, they look too similar. So instead, if you want to put a sign of some sort, we use dot. That means multiplication, 4 times x. Or when it's a number and a variable, we don't even have to use it, just put them side by side. That means 4 times x. We can do the same for the number by putting a dot. That means 2 times 3. And obviously, we wouldn't skip the dot because that is 23 rather than 2 times 3. Okay, 4x. 4 times x. So what's the operation that is being done to x? Well, we're multiplying it by 4. What is the opposite of that? Division of 4. Okay, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. That makes this equation x is equal to 2. If you're not sure how this part works, you need to review fraction. I'll hopefully do a video about this pretty soon, and you can check that out later. Another question. Okay, this equation looks a little different. First, we have variable on the right side, and we also have a division. Our first step is always do the opposite operation that is done to the variable. Here, what do we have? We have division of 3. What is the opposite operation of that? That is multiplication of 3. And it is okay to write multiplication 3 at the end here, but here for this to come first, because when it's multiplying, the order does not matter, right? 2 times 3 is equal to 3 times 2. And that's why 3 can go either in the front or in the back. Okay, let's solve. 3 times 3 is 9. And division of 3 and multiplication of 3, they cancel each other out. So we have 9 is equal to x. And It's just mathematical convention that we always write variable on the left side. X is equal to 9. We're going to try this question now. 6n plus 2 is equal to 14. The question looks more complicated, but the way that we solve is still the same. We're going to find the operation done to our variable. In this case, it is n, and we're going to do the opposite of that. What is the operation done to n here? Well, we're doing times 6 and we're adding to after. Does that mean that we're going to do the opposite of multiplication first or opposite of addition first? I'm going to show you both and tell you why one is easier. Here on the left side, I'm going to subtract 2 first. Here on the right side, I'm going to do the division first. Let's solve the left one first. We have 6n plus 2 minus to cancel out. 14 minus 2, that's 12. So we have 6n is equal to 12. Now we see that 6 is being multiplied to n. So we do the opposite operation, which is division of 6. 6, they cancel out. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So we have n is equal to 2. On the right side though, this one will look a little messy. First, you need to remember that we're not doing division of that only and division of this. When you have an equation 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, when we do division, if we divide part of the equations, that makes 1, that makes 2. 1 plus 2 is equal to 2. False. The way that this equation stays true even after the division is by dividing the entire side every time. 4 over 2 is equal to 4 over 2. All that to say, we always divide the entire side. Okay, you may remember that when it's an addition of fraction, we can break it apart and write that, and they become 1. So that makes this equation n plus 2 over 6 is equal to 14 over 6. Now we do subtraction of fraction because we need to only have n on this side of the equation. And that's what we call isolation of variable. So this part, they cancel out. On the right side though, we have 14 over 6 minus 2 over 6, and that is 12 over 6. And by simplifying, by dividing by 6, we have n is equal to 2. So you see that we get to the same answer, but one way is significantly easier than the other. Okay, how do we know which one to do every time? Well, by doing subtraction first, we immediately got rid of this right away and made this second line of the equation simple. But when we do the division first, it had to go through 2 lines to get rid of that 6, and we have fractions on the rest of the terms. Always get rid of the addition or subtraction first, and then get rid of the multiplication and division. Let's do a couple more. 4 plus 23g is equal to 73. Okay, and what's our first step? We have multiplication of 23 to our variable, and then we have 4 being added to that, right? So what did we learn last time? Always do the opposite of addition or subtraction first. Okay, this will cancel out. So we have 23g equals 69. What do we do now? Division of 23. Because that is the opposite of multiplication of 23. So this becomes 1 over 1. And 69 divided by 23 is actually 3. That makes it g is equal to 3. Okay? Do the opposite of addition first, and then we divide afterwards. Let's do another. 2g minus 5 is equal to 19. Negative numbers. You don't have to be scared because the way that we solve them are still the same. We're going to do the opposite operation. Right now we have negative 2 being multiplied to our variable g, and then we're subtracting it by 5. What is the opposite operation? Well, we're going to do the opposite of subtraction first, because that makes our equation simple. Minus 5 plus 5 cancel out. They become 24. So we have negative 2g is equal to 24. Now we have negative 2 being multiplied to g, and what is the opposite of that? Division of negative 2. Division of negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. Division of the same number is always 1. 24 divided by negative 2 is negative 12. So what do we have? G is equal to negative 12. Last one. Negative 6 minus y over 12 equals 4. Let's do the opposite operation. We have division of negative 12 and we have subtraction of 6. Which one are we going to do first? Well, we're going to do the opposite of subtraction first because that's what's going to make this equation simpler. So opposite of minus 6 is plus 6, and we do it on the both sides. They will cancel out, and 4 plus 6 is 10. That means we'll have negative y over 12 is equal to 10. We have a division of negative 12. What is the opposite of that? Multiplication of negative 12. So we're going to multiply negative 12. Multiply negative 12. And multiplication and division, they cancel each other out. So we will have y is equal to negative 120. And that's how we solve it. Remember, there are two important rules. One, apply the opposite operation. Do the opposite of addition and subtraction first, and then do the opposite of multiplication and division. Second, when you apply any operation, you make sure to do it on the other side as well. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be making more videos about fractions and common mistakes that people make when they solve linear equations. So make sure to check them out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!